Hey guys, I'm joined with cornerback Steve Nelson of the Philadelphia Eagles. You guys know a team that I hate fiercely as they beat my Falcons this year, but I had to still show up in my Falcons colors. We're going to talk crypto. We're going to talk NFTs. Steve, how are you doing today?
Man, I'm doing awesome, man. Glad to have you. Glad to be on here with you, man, and talk some crypto, NFTs, and maybe a little football.
Yeah, absolutely. And I found out you actually grew up in Atlanta, where we're at here. So it's always good to
Yeah.
have a fellow ATLian here on the channel.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So let's get it. First, I want to talk about kind of how you got into crypto, because we're going to lead into talking about your NFT project and what you got going on with that, which is really cool. You got some utility in it, which is something that we love.
Right.
But a lot of people who've got into NFTs, they're coming in, they're trying to sell them. And they really, like, I ask them about crypto, they don't really know anything about crypto. You've actually been in
Right.
crypto for, you didn't just get in. So you kind of tell us how you got into crypto. Tell us a little bit about,
Yeah.
what you think about it and what coins you hold.
Yeah, man. So what really got me into crypto? One of my buddies actually, we kind of been in the stock market game for the past like 5 or 6 years or whatnot, and that it's just very slow. It's a long process. Um, and I've definitely made, some gains, and I also, have taken my L's in the stock market. Once you take a loss, it takes a little while to kind of get back to where you started at. And so like, fast forward to now, or just last year when I got into crypto, when it really started. I guess it's always been around, but like, more people started getting involved in it, more buzz has been around it, to everybody and whatnot. So my buddy talked about it, and he just kind of told me like, look, man, this is where the future's going. You know, the value of the U.S. dollar is going down. All that kind of talk.
Yeah.
So I started, doing research on it, and started, doing some little light investing, and just saw how quickly, you know, um, the gains. But it's very volatile. That's the only downside from it. But I mean, you do make quicker gains to me, and that's pretty much why I got into it. To kind of like get away from the stock market, and just see where that goes, man. But I mean, I've been in. I'm staying. I believe in it. I do feel like it's the future, and so yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think it's very
Yeah.
interesting that you said that it was kind of thinking about the dollar, which really got you interested, because that's something we've seen very consistently. And
Right.
I've seen personally with my family. Like my family, they thought I was crazy for years and years and years.
Right.
Especially a few years ago when I left my job to go full time doing this, they were like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
They all wish they would have invested then. But what happened is during the pandemic when it first started and we started looking at the dollar index dropping, my family was like, oh, you know what? This does kind of make sense actually, because our value of what
Yeah.
we have right now is dropping. So I think that's a really interesting way to get in. So let's talk about like a little bit about your portfolio. What coins are you interested in?
Yeah.
What coins do you hold? And things like that.
Yeah. So I've invested in Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, um, VeChain.
Oh, okay.
Just you know, I'll tell you exactly right now. I have a few more. Oh, I didn't leave out Dogecoin.
Yeah.
Uh, I have Litecoin, some Stellar. Um, I think I sold off the rest of them, but those are like my majors right now,
Yeah.
that I've just been playing around with.
Yeah, I think that's a good portfolio. When you look across the landscape of crypto, a lot of people they want to go in these coins that nobody's ever heard of and try to make $1 million overnight. But the
Right.
most sound strategy is picking those top coins. Very interested. You have VeChain. That's a coin that we like on the channel. That's a little bit lower. I think it's maybe around number 20 overall right now, but it's a project we think is going to have some big explosive gains. What do you think
Yeah.
about Ethereum versus Bitcoin?
I think Ethereum, man, it has the potential, to kind of surpass Bitcoin. Bitcoin had just got off to a crazy start. But I think everybody's pretty much kind of leaning towards Ethereum. I think it's still way more affordable than Bitcoin, even at that point. But I feel like, you can just do a lot more with Ethereum, especially, we're going to transition talking about the NFT stuff,
Right.
that minting fee, so I have a little background with that, with Ethereum, man. But I think Ethereum is going to surpass it pretty
Yeah.
soon.
Well,
Yeah.
we're very much in line with that. We think that that's definitely true, that the potential of Ethereum is just so high compared to Bitcoin. I mean, there's only so many people. We all think Bitcoin's digital gold, right? So there's only so many people that want to hold gold out there. I'd be very interested. Do you ever hear NFL players talking about gold?
No, I hear them talking about jewelry, but
Yeah.
I mean, if that's the same thing, but
well, hold on here, Steve.
Likely.
Steve, hold on. I need to put in my grill. I got my.
There you go.
I got my grill in. You like that? There's some white gold right there. That's it. Yeah, man. We got maybe hard to see, but we got crypto logos on there. Well, you can't see. It's a bad camera there. But we got XRP, Ethereum, Cardano, and Bitcoin on here. And then just we got an orange tooth. I was listening to Show Me Your Grill the other day. They were talking about the different colored teeth. So I had to make sure I got a different colored tooth.
Hey, man, that's awesome, man. You have to send me one of those.
Yeah, man. We got Grills by Scotty here in Atlanta made that for me. So yeah. But you're right. I mean, when you're talking about gold, I mean, people, they want jewelry, they want grills, that, there's also a lot of use for gold in technology and iPhones and stuff like that. I think that's really the future of gold, but it's not something that's super sexy. Like, people don't really care about holding on to gold. And I think Bitcoin's going to run into that problem. At some point, the sexiness of Bitcoin right now is there, but eventually that sexiness of Ethereum is going to really go to the next level, we believe. So let's talk about NFTs, because you said you got some experience with, minting fees and things like that. We know the Ethereum fees are very high. So tell us a little bit about how you learned about NFTs, how you got into it.
Man, so again, like, just one of my buddies, kind of, he was just kind of like a little bird chirping in my ear.
Yeah.
And, just telling me about it.
That's how those crypto guys are.
Yeah, he's always, telling me stuff, and I'm like, man, what is this? And it's, people still now to this day don't really know, what the NFTs are, because it's, fairly new still. But, I saw Gronkowski from Tampa Bay. He had an NFT. He started doing some NFTs, and that's what caught my attention. Just to see like an NFL player, have his own NFTs, and I think LeBron and some other major athletes have it. So that's when I got involved. I was like, hey man, this is pretty cool. You can actually take a moment in a game, like a major catch or a touchdown or something, and you turn it into something that somebody could have, for life. So I thought that was really cool about it, man. But just going into like my personal, I guess, thing with NFTs, like I wanted to, create my own experience and kind of give people, add some utility to it so that people can, have an experience with myself.
Yeah, I think that's great. And just so everybody knows, we'll have we'll show some clips from from your collection on OpenSea and on granted.co. But we'll have the links down below for anybody that wants to check these out. We highly suggest it. Steve came on the show, supports crypto. You got to support him. But the utility with these, the one-of-ones, is something that I find absolutely fascinating. This is really what NFTs are moving towards. It's no longer just create a JPEG and put it out there. And, especially a still motion JPEG, put it out there and people go buy it and they're real happy with it. We have to add a little sauce to it. So tell us a little bit about what you've done with your one-of-one collection that people can find on granted.co.
Yeah. So my one-of-one collection, very, very interesting. So I started off with 6 total packages. I have 3 left, and I'll explain what those are right now. So auction 1, it's called the Nelson Island package. It includes a personal fishing trip with myself. So people that actually know me, they know I love to fish. I have my YouTube channel, Just Steven Nelson, you see some fishing stuff on there. But back to this package, you get a Nelson Island NFT and a matching canvas hand signed by myself, which is cool. So, and then the auction 2, it's an Eagle package, includes a one-on-one field workout with myself. I'll be teaching the game. We'll go grab a bite to eat at Angelo's Pizza.
No, I told you before we went live, I may buy that just to show you that I can burn you.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I'll be waiting on at least I know who I'm going against, right?
Yeah.
And then so there'll be also a one-on-one no fly zone NFT. Same thing, matching canvas, hand signed by myself. And then the last one would be it's called the Final Game package, and that's it. That's a ticket to a division rival against the Giants on December 26th. It includes 2 tickets to the game worn cleats, game worn jersey, signed football, a one-on-one holographic NFT, and a hand signed holographic print of the NFT. And all items are minted on the blockchain. So,
Nice.
That's the 3 packages.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, that's cool. I mean, as a fan of the NFL, being able to go hang out with an NFL player, get all that signed stuff. Right. I mean, that's really what's cool about the sign package where you sign all the items, the game worn stuff, is that's really like a weaving of digital and physical collectibles. And I think that's a really cool idea. So, and then also just tell us a little bit about your OpenSea collection. That is, I think is that launching now?
Yeah.
When is that launching? Later today?
Oh, it's out right now.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah, it's out right now. So it's OpenSea.io/collection/Nelson Island. Yeah, you can go on OpenSea. There's I have 20 NFT editions available of each artwork. There's a total of 60 available. And it's a reasonable floor price, of 0.1 ETH. So essentially the auctions are going to be more, pricier, but you can always go to OpenSea and, get a reasonable price with 0.1 ETH for each one.
And can you tell us a little bit about the artist you teamed up with on this?
The artwork, oh man, so it came up. My guy Jordan, he's done a great job, man. Him and his team, man, they've done a great job with the ideas. But I just kind of sent them, some photos earlier, and the rest was history. I mean, he just came up with the whole theme and all the holographics and all the cool stuff, man. And he just kind of see if I liked it, man. But he's definitely the magic behind it, I would say.
Cool, man. Love to hear that. Now, last 2 questions. I just want to ask you 2. We got to talk football for a second, like just real quick. I want to know who is the hardest receiver you have to cover, and who's the quarterback that you don't want to play.
Man, that is a great question, man. So I got a great answer for you. About 3-4 years ago, I would say Julio Jones.
Yeah.
When you guys were, you had the explosive offense. He was, at that time, he was unguardable. I played him my second year in the league. I think it was at the old stadium before you guys demolished it.
Yeah.
And
I think you guys won that. Did you guys win that game?
Yeah, we won that game.
That was the last game we lost before we went to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we won that game. I remember Eric Berry had a pick 6.
Yep. No, it was a pick. It was a pick 2.
Oh yeah, it had a pick 2.
That's why you guys won. He had the interception on the 2-point conversion. God, I hated
that.
A
great memory. You got a great memory. Yeah. So I remember that game, man. Yeah, Julio definitely gave me some fits, man. Trying to think who else. Like today, I would say probably Aaron Rodgers, man, and Adams. Going against those 2 guys, man, they can set you up so many ways. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
you know,
Well, fun.
those two
Here's a fun fact for you. Fun fact for you. Tom Brady has as many NFC championships as Aaron Rodgers. So I just want to throw that out there.
Yeah.
I saw that. Somebody was saying Aaron Rodgers is the greatest of all time. I'm like, well, you know, I don't know, you know, I don't hate Aaron Rodgers, you know, I don't like the Packers, but you know, for my money, you got to go with Tom Brady. You know, I mean, who wants to play Tom Brady? But I mean, that's kind of a given, I guess. But right now, Devontae Adams is good. Yeah,
Devontae Adams is good. We played, speaking of Tom Brady, we played those guys here last night.
Oh, that's right.
Had a tough loss. We were in the game, man. You know, it was closer than people think. I think the game ended up 22-28 or something.
Yeah. Well, Tom Brady won the game with a 1-yard run.
Yeah, man. He got that first down.
So good at those. Gotta hate him.
And he's smiling on the ground and stuff.
Oh,
you know, it's like, come on, Tom. You don't
retire already. Come on, you know.
Yeah, come on, bro. Leave us alone.
I mean, we were watching him. I feel like when I was a kid, I was watching him. I'm almost an old man now, and he's still playing. Come on, Tom. It's time to go. Let somebody else in the league.
Let somebody else win, man. Let somebody else.
Absolutely. It's like the older kid in the neighborhood who, like, you know, when he's playing with you, he's going to crush you and everything because he's dang 6 years older than you. It's not fair.
Exactly.
Move on and play with people your own age. Go to the retirement home, Tom.
Exactly. Excuse me. Hey, I wanted to. I left something out on that auction too. I didn't want to forget. So the grand finale of all of this is there's a golden ticket, right?
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool. So the description reads, all NFT purchasers and anyone who even bids on the auctions will be entered to win the golden ticket. The golden ticket is, check this out, it's a lifetime pass granting the holder 2 tickets to 4 divisional home games every season for the rest of my career.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's pretty good then.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty special, man.
And is that's wherever you go? I mean, if you're not with the Eagles your entire career, that moves on.
Yeah, that moves on. You know, but it starts. I believe it starts sometime after this season.
Yeah.
Because we're still working on that, but I wanted to throw that out,
cool.
Which is cool, and just so everybody out there can know, like, a percentage of, you know, all proceeds goes to the Eagles Autism Foundation. You know, it's pretty big here in Philadelphia. So
yeah, sounds like a good cause.
Wanted to do something special with that.
Yeah, awesome. We love when people get back. We try to do some philanthropy here ourselves. It's important to, you know, support people in the community or, you know, foundations in the community that need help. It's something we love to do as well. So, Steve, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's been a blast. Love talking football with you. I love to talk football. I'm a football nerd. I'm different than the crypto gaming nerds. I'm a football nerd. So
yes,
yeah, thanks for coming on. Everybody check the description down below. If anybody's got any comments, you guys make sure to drop those down below as well. It's all we got. Be blessed. Good boy out.